It was an early summer day in 1927. A young couple was to be executed. But before the triggers were pulled, the wife hugged her husband. We didn't have a wedding ceremony, so the gunshots today will be our ceremonial music. The lovers, Zhu Qian and Yu Zhoujian, died in their 20s for China's revolution. Nearly 50,000 early Communist Party members like them were killed within a year after the military coup. The young political party, founded 6 years prior, was dealt a heavy blow after losing 3/4 of its members. How then does this party, at the blink of falling apart, come to have more than 91 million members in its centenary year? The answer goes back to China's deep crisis in the 19th century. Since the defeat in the Opium War, China had become prey in the eyes of Western colonizers, empowered by the Industrial Revolution. Forced concessions and indemnities ended up on the shoulders of ordinary Chinese. Fortunately, there was no lack of men and women who kept trying to save the country they loved. Those patriots looked at the already successful attempts in the West to make changes to China. They tried to push for reform and build a constitutional monarchy, but it failed. They were able to build a democratic republic through revolution, but it did not last long.
中华民族是很有上进心的啊，面临这种外来的压力吧，就做了很多尝试，但是大部分确实都不成功。国家的工业化也搞得不好，又有外地入侵啊，那么然后最终呢，这个人民还是选择了一个领导能力更强，而且更有现代化目标的一个政党，就是中国共产党。
On May 4th, 1919, patriotic students in Beijing took to the streets to protest the government that caved into the unreasonable demands of imperialist powers after World War I. The protests soon spread to more than 100 cities across China, with huge support from workers who went on strike. During the protests, intellectuals influenced by Marxism after the October Revolution in Russia were touched by the power of workers in the fight to save China. Early communist groups started to sprout up in Chinese cities with a large working class. In 1921, the First National Congress of the CPC announced the official founding of the party. By then, there were more than 50 CPC members across the country. But this small political party had the answer to the question, what's the way out for China?
就是从它建立起，就下决心要深入下层，到占中国人口绝大多数的劳苦大众中去，开展群众工作。
By then, Mao Zedong had found that a tenant peasant could save no more than 20 yuan after a full year of hard work in several field studies in Hunan province, which meant peasants in China had a harder life than farm cattle. But the needs of those peasants, the silent majority of Chinese people, were rarely noticed by previous reformers until the CPC. Such realization echoes with the essence of Marxism, which is to create a society without any exploitation. The party soon worked to mobilize peasants, paving the way for its unique revolutionary strategy of surrounding cities from the countryside, and eventually established a new China. The CPC's decision to choose Marxism as its guiding theory was a wise one that understood the misery and capacity of the many workers and peasants in China.
And the only thing that draw people together is by addressing majority people's concern. When you side it with the overwhelming majority of the people, the peasantry, the workers, people in lower, you will get their support.
The people know who best serve their interests, and therefore choose the CPC as the leadership to win independence. In Chinese, people say 选对对, which means choose wisely. Just as President Xi Jinping said the path of socialism chosen by China is a choice made by history and by the people.